Hi, I'm Jamiko Coleman, EverFi's Vice President of Early Literacy Impact, and I'm so excited to share on how you can connect your classroom instruction on phonological awareness and phonics to practice in WordForce. So the lesson objective is to help your students build phonological awareness and phonics skills. And an important consideration is that research shows that teaching phonological awareness and phonics skills at the same time can foster strong literacy skills. So we'll focus on the three letters M, A, and T, and we'll practice the short vowel sound for A, ah. Because of how important background knowledge and vocabulary development are to literacy growth, I'll also provide labels and definitions for any pictures shown to students. The two word force games that are aligned with this lesson are Sprouting Sounds, which is a phonological awareness game that focuses on onset rhyme in the first few levels, and then phonemic awareness in the last few levels. We'll also talk about Veggie Village skills. Those help students connect letters to speech sounds with which they're associated. Your students will have an opportunity to play those games after we complete the lesson. So before we start, let me share the distinction between phonological awareness and phonics. Phonological awareness means no print is visible. You'll only hear sounds and words, which is why only an ear is shown. With phonics, you will see a printed word and hear sounds in the word, or you will just see the printed word and read it. So for phonics, an image of an eye is present in both cases. All right, let's begin. So teachers, what we're going to talk about today in students is the sound to start off. And so you'll see a map, you see the letter M, and what I want you to do is to practice saying that sound. And I'm going to show you a video of a lady producing that sound.
Mm.
Okay, so now you practice. I'll give you a few moments to practice making the sound. I bet you all are doing great. All right, so let's look at this picture here. This is a map, and people use maps to find their way to different places. Map starts with the sound. Okay, I'm going to circle it here. Okay, and then I want you to point to the M, and then we're going to do some air tracings of M. Watch your teacher also trace the M and say, I bet you all did great. All right, let's move on. This is a fun activity we're going to do next. So we just talked about map, and you see map here. Okay, and again, that shows where different places are located. People use maps to get from one place to another. Map starts with the letter M. All right, the next thing you see is a mask. We just had a holiday where people were wearing masks, Halloween, right? This is a different kind of mask, but what they do is they hide your face and you can pretend to be someone else. Mask. Okay, and the last picture here is a mat. Mat. Mat starts with M. A mat is something that people walk on to clean the bottom of their shoes or their feet after they walk outside to get that dirt off. Mat. Now, we've talked a lot about making the sound. Can you remember what letter makes the sound? M. All right, now let's do a fun activity. You're going to use your finger to do this activity, but I'm going to show you on the screen. I want you to find the map, and that's the one that I'll circle, map. Okay, I'm circling the map. The next picture that I want you to find is mat. Remember, people walk on the mat to clean their feet. I'm going to underline mat. Did you pick this one? If you did, good job. All right, now the last one is mask. And just to do something fun with mask, I'm going to put an X over it just to show that's the mask. Okay, again, mask is something that people wear to hide their faces to pretend to be something different. All right, let's move on. Okay, so now let's talk about a new sound. This sound is ah, okay? And first we're going to talk about what we see here, which is this apple. And there's a little worm coming out of the apple because sometimes worms, just like us, love apples. And so sometimes they get in there and they eat those apples. So an apple is a type of fruit that grows on trees, okay? And so what I'm going to show you now is how to make that sound that apple starts with, the ah sound.
Ah,
Ah. Can you make the sound ah? Ah. So again, apple starts with the ah sound, and the letter that we use to represent ah is A. Okay, everybody, let's do our tracing. So we're going to trace the A, make a circle, and then a stick that comes down and say ah. Teachers are showing you how to do it, so go ahead and watch them and practice saying and tracing the A for ah. Very good. You guys are doing great. All right, now on to our fun activity. Okay, so we talked about the apple, which is a type of fruit that grows on trees. Now let's look at these other pictures. They both start with the ah sound. Do you know what this one is? If you do, raise your hand and tell your teacher. Did you say alligator? An alligator is a large reptile that lives in lakes and rivers in certain parts of the world. Alligator starts with ah. What about these little critters? Do you know what they're called? Again, raise your hand and tell your teacher if you do. I bet you said ants. They're insects that live in ant hills and work together to gather food. Ants. Ah, okay, here we go. With your finger, I want you to circle the apple. Remember, it's a type of fruit that grows on trees. Okay, hopefully you circled this picture to show the apple. All right, next, I want you to underline the ants. Underline ants that start with ah. All right, if you underlined in the air the ants, this picture you did great. All right, and the last one, do you remember what that animal is? An alligator. Alligator starts with ah. Great. All right. Now, just to test it out, what sound are we working on? All right, if you said ah, you got it right. Let's trace the A. A. Okay, here's the A. And A says ah. All right, let's move on. We're going to work on a new sound, our last sound. So we've talked about the for M. The A says ah. And then now we're going to talk about the T sound. Okay, let's watch her make that sound and then we'll talk about the picture we see there. Can you make the T sound? Watch your teacher also make the T sound. So the picture that we have are teeth, and people chew food with their teeth. Teeth starts with T, and this is the letter T. Okay, the letter T makes the T sound. Let's trace it. A line down, a line across, make sure T. So a line down and line across for T, and that's a T. All right, let's do our fun activity. Okay, now we talked about teeth. What do you think this is? That's tape. And tape is something we use to make things stick. I bet your teacher has some tape in her classroom. And the teacher can pick it up and show you. I bet you've used it to make beautiful pictures and other types of art projects. Tape. This is a picture of another type of animal. Does anyone know what that animal is? All right, raise your hand and tell your teacher if you do. If you said tiger, you got it. It's the largest wild cat. They usually have orange fur with black stripes. They're strong and they hunt for food. Okay. Tiger starts with T. And then we talked about teeth, which also starts with T. Now, your turn. I want you to air circle which one you think is teeth. Okay. And I'm going to join you and show you what I would circle for teeth. Okay. Teeth starts with the T sound. Okay. Next, I want you to underline tape. And if you remember, tape is something we use to make things stick together. And you've probably used tape. And underline tape, which starts with T. Okay. And then the last one that's left, excuse me, is our tiger. Tiger starts with T, and that also starts with the letter T. I'm going to put my X over the tiger. Okay. Now let's air trace that T. Okay, that's the T. Line down, line across for T, and we're going to make the T sound. Good job. All right, so we have talked about 3 letters. Now we're going to do another activity with those letters. So you learned, if you didn't know what a map was, now you know. We've got the map here. And remember that what sound does that start with? Go ahead and tell your teacher. Okay, and so we say map, and the first sound we hear in map is And which letter makes the sound? Raise your hand and let your teacher know which letter you should pick. Should it be the A, the T, or the M? If you said M, you are correct. It's the sound that is at the beginning of map, and the sound goes with that M. M. All right, let's do the next one. Do you remember what this animal's called? If you said alligator, you are correct. What sound does alligator start with, right? Starts with A. Okay, which letter makes the A sound? Is it the A or the T? If you said A, you are correct. Great job. All right, last one. I think we know what it is, but let's go ahead and go through this. Do you remember what this picture is? If you do, let your teacher know by raising your hand first. Okay, and let or him pick you or them. Okay, that's tape. Tape. Okay, tape does begin with the letter T, and the sound that goes with the letter T is T. All right, good job. Wonderful job. I bet you all just really are getting these right. You're a smart group of kiddos. I know your teacher's proud of you. All right, let's keep on going to the next activity. All right, how many of you have played bingo? We're going to play bingo together, okay? So this is how we're going to do this. Now, look at all these pictures. We're going to go through, and I'm going to point. I'm going to give you a few minutes to say what you see. And if it's okay with your teacher as a class, you can say it together. So check with your teacher first, okay? See how your teacher would like for you to do this. Okay, so I'm going to point, and I'm going to let you know what they are, and we're going to move through it. All right, this first one, do you remember? What is it? A map? How about this one? Those are ants. Here we have teeth. This is our tiger. This is the mask. How about this one? Apple. All right, last row. How are you guys doing? Bet you're doing great. This is tape. What about this one? Alligator. And the last one here, mat. All right, so here's what I want you to do. I'm going to tell you a letter, and I want you to tell your teacher all the pictures that you see that start with that letter. Ready? First letter is M. Remember the sound that M makes. Which pictures start with M? I'll give you a few moments to tell your teacher, and then we'll see how many of them you got right. Again, look for the pictures that start with M and tell your teacher when your teacher calls on you which pictures start with M, the sound. And teachers, feel free to pause if you need a few more minutes here. All right, let's see. Did you pick the map, the mask, and the mat? If you did, you might have gotten bingo already. But guess what? You might be able to get bingo again, and that would be great. Okay, again, map, mask, and mat all start with the M, which says All right, next one is T. Which pictures start with T? That's the T sound. Again, I'll give you a few moments here. Okay, and if you get them all right, it's like getting super bingo. So keep working hard. Again, I bet you're doing great. All right, let's see which pictures start with T. If you picked the tape, the tiger, and the teeth, you picked all of the pictures that begin with T, which means they begin with the T sound. Look at that. You've got bingo now this way, and this way, and this way. You're doing great. Doing great. All right, last one. This one should be pretty easy because you only have so many left, but let's do it anyway. Which pictures start with the A and the A sound? All right. What do you see? All right. You've got ant, apple, and alligator. If you got all of those right, you got super bingo and you should pat yourself on the back. Good job. All right. Now, let's do our last activity. This one has no pictures. You've learned letters, you've learned their sounds. I believe you can do this. So we're working again with the M sound is the A sound is A, and the T sound is T. So you'll remember that for this next part where you're going to get to make some words. Okay, so we know that the M says the A says A, the T says T. Which of these letters might you put here in this space to create a real word? Would it be an M, an A, or a T? Talk with your teacher. Raise your hands and listen to your teacher as your teacher helps you think about which letter might you pull from here to make a real word. Did you say A? If you did, you are correct. And what is that word? You know what the M says. It says you know what the A says, ah. Can you put the ah and the sound together? What do you get? Am. Okay, let's look at am in a sentence. I am glad. Okay, let's do another one. All right, so now you have an A. What letter could you put in that space? Now, you could put the M, right? But we've already done am. So let's not put the M. Would it be an A or a T? An A or a T to make a real word. One that you might have heard of before, that you've used even. All right, did you pick the T? If you did have that choice, you have the A and the T. The A says a, the T says t, and when you put those together, you have at. Okay, at. Let's look at that in a sentence. He is at home. All right, let's do one more. Okay, so we just built the word at, and you see it here, but guess what? You can pick another letter and put it here and create a word. So smaller words can be used to make bigger words, and that's what you're doing. So what letter do you think you might put in front of that A to make a word? Would it be an M, another A, or a T? We're making a real word here. What did you pick? I hoped you picked that M. Now you have the M, the A, and the T. So you have at, mat. Let's see that in a sentence. The mat is big. You did such a good job. Super proud of you. You should be proud of yourselves, and I know your teachers are proud of the great work you just did. Now we're going to switch gears, and I'm going to let my colleague here, Hannah, Kim, tell you about how you can now get ready to play Word Force. Remember, we talked about sprouting sounds in Veggie Village. Those are the games I would recommend as a follow-up to reinforce these great skills that children have just practiced in the realm of phonological awareness and phonics. Hannah, I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. That was so much fun. I don't know if you saw me, but I was also practicing my letter sounds as well. So let's go ahead and get you on your accounts to make sure that you have access to your fun lessons and games to follow up. So first thing you're going to do is open up your school device and go to the internet web browser, and the website is going to be everfi.com/register. And teachers, if you need to pause here for a little bit to make sure to give your students the time they need to type everything out, take the time that your students need. The registration code that the students will need can be found on your teacher dashboard under the class tab. And if this is not something that you are aware of or know how to do, you can feel free to reply back to the email that you received so that you can learn more about how to get that set up. And someone will be there to help you get that going. But once the students are able to put in the class code from your teacher dashboard, they'll put in their information, their name, and then they can create their username and password. And I recommend doing something simple, like username can be something like a student ID number that they would use for lunch money accounts, or a password can be something along the lines of like school name and the year, like 2023. Once you do that, you will be able to go onto your dashboard. If you could go to the next slide there. And for those students who are in our Clever integrated districts, you can also log in by going to your district Clever or ClassLink login. And under the app, you will see Everfi. And once you click on that, that's it. Nothing else to do. All you have to do is just click on that app and you'll be able to get logged in right away. If you click the little heart next to Everfi, you'll be able to put it under your favorites so that it's always at the top and you don't have to search for it every time. And again, teachers, feel free to pause the video and take as long as you need to make sure that all of your students are logged in and they're able to get access to the account. So once you're logged in, whether it's through our website or Clever, this is the tile you are going to look for. It's called WordForce. And once you are there, you're going to click the blue button at the very bottom, and that's where you'll be able to start the lesson. Once you click the blue button, it'll take you to the actual game. And it's going to look like this. It's a little rocket ship you get to click in. If you click the orange button where that yellow arrow is, you'll be able to enter the rocket ship to get started. And I hope you have so much fun. It is a lot of great practice that you can do to practice your reading skills and phonics skills. And there is tons more lessons on there as well that you can do besides the one that we did today. And again, teachers, if you have any questions, feel free to email us and we will be more than happy to support you. Now, students, I want you to think about what skill you practiced today. So think about it in your head for a second. And once you have a thought, you can maybe whisper it to your neighbor. And if you feel comfortable, raise your hand and ask your teacher if you can share it out loud with the rest of your class. We practiced a lot of skills today. You learned 3 letter sounds. We matched it with pictures. We learned how to mix those letters together to make words. We also looked at how to use that word in a sentence. And you even played bingo. Tons of activities we did today. And what is something that you learned? Maybe think about something new that you learned that you didn't know before that you learned during our time together today. Again, think about it in your head, whisper it to your neighbor around you, and when you feel ready and comfortable, you can raise your hand and wait for your teacher to call on you so you can share it with the rest of the class. All right, friends, I hope you had a wonderful time today. I had so much fun learning and practicing the skills with you today. There is so much more on WordForce that you can go through and learn more. And you're on your way to become a great reader. Teachers, feel free to explore the resources on there. If you would like, you can always replay this video and go through the activities more with your students, or pause throughout the video so that you can reinforce any skills or have discussions with your students as needed. Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Have a
Thank you.
great day.
Bye, everyone.